Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever that you are and wherever you may be. Thank you very much for making us a part of your day. I am Brad Franklin, a creative content right here in Chesterfield. I'm very glad to tell you that Chesterfield Behind the Mic is on the air once again. It is fall. As we record this today, the air is crisp. It is nice outside, and it just kind of feels like, hey, you know what we should do? We should have some like fall events. And I'm really excited to talk about one of the sort of staples of the fall in Chesterfield, Community Cup 2024. I'm very glad to welcome Dalila Medrano to the podcast again. Dalila, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, Brad. Excited to be back.
Very glad to have you. Very excited to talk about Community Cup 2024. We did a very similar show last year, and I'm not a big believer in, well, if you do one thing once, you should never do it again. I think for things like this, the more we can do to sort of talk about what's planned, especially things that might be different year to year, right, the more we should do it. So before we dive into that, though, I know that there are lots of people who maybe have an idea of what community engagement resources might do, but I like to give folks a chance to sort of talk through their background, talk to people about sort of who they are, where they come from, that kind of thing. So in terms of your role with CER and maybe the multicultural side of things of the shop, give us a little bit of background on your department and also your role within it as part of the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
Sure. So I work as the Multicultural Community Engagement Coordinator. I'm housed within our Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, which is housed in our Community Engagement and Resources Department. And so our department, I think, essentially works to ensure accessibility to county and community resources. Right. We help start new initiatives as needed as our community evolves. And we help serve as collaborators in community building efforts alongside our partners. Yeah, not too long ago, you guys went through a little bit of a name change. Yes. Have folks gotten used to the CER part of it yet? I think we have. I think others maybe have not, but that's a really great point. One of the reasons that we renamed our department to be Community Engagement and Resources is that, we recognize that, some of our residents are not citizens, U.S. Right. citizens, and we wanted to be inclusive and make sure that everyone, could look at our department title and say that's a department that, can assist me. Right,
yeah. So there are a lot of different people. Well, let me rephrase that. There are a lot of different things that a lot of different people do inside your department. I think that one of the great things about doing this show for me is getting to talk to a variety of different folks from a variety of different departments and doing a lot of different stuff. Yeah. Obviously, a lot of people understand what diversity and inclusion what those terms might mean, and we'll get to Community Cup itself in a minute. But what are some of the other types of events that you guys are involved with throughout the year?
Yeah, so, my role's kind of unique in that a big part of my role is serving as advisor to over 50 county departments, assisting with cross-departmental alignment on outreach and engagement strategies. So I get to see a lot of different, sectors working together. And I would say that one of our more recent events that kind of highlights all of our departments was our Café con la Comunidad
Yes, for
event.
Sure. Yeah. If you didn't bring it up, I was going to bring it up for you, so I'm glad that you did. Tell me a little bit about sort of what made that event so special and why it certainly feels, I don't want to write any checks I can't cash, but it certainly feels like a thing we're going to start doing way more often because it seems like such a success. But talk to the folks a little bit about what that event was and why you feel like it was such an important event for the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So Café con la Comunidad was an event geared towards our Spanish-speaking community as a part of our continuing efforts to engage our, rising Latino demographic. We created this town hall style event so the community can share concerns, share ideas with our board of supervisors, with our county administrator, Dr. Joe Casey. And, I think the real goal was to create a safe and welcoming environment for a population that has often been really far removed from government decision making. And so this was inviting them into that process. And I would say, Brad, ultimately we want to create a future where everyone can reach their full potential and thrive. Right. And so this is, I think, a bridge in that process.
Right. So for folks who maybe didn't see any of the coverage of this event, so the idea was that it was almost exclusively Spanish language driven. right? And then essentially it gave, for English speakers, it gave you sort of a good feel for what it is like for those who don't speak that specific language and therefore are maybe unsure of all the little nooks and crannies of what's being said. There were translator headsets available for folks who didn't speak Spanish to be able to understand sort of what the conversation was like. And I think it, in terms of like the way the industry, when I say industry there, I mean communications, there's a real push, I think, from communications professionals to start thinking about, okay, for non-English speakers, what does this message look like? And how can we make this message more accessible for those who maybe English is not their first language, or maybe they know bits and pieces, but Spanish is their primary language. And I think an event like this does such a great job of speaking to people that the county just doesn't really talk to or connect to as well. And I think all of us are so interested in trying to do everything we can to connect with more people and carry, those messages, those important pieces to folks so that they can understand sort of how things work and where they need to go for specific pieces. And I just thought the thing was an absolute success all the way through.
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. And, I have to say that I really appreciate, the role that, your department, communications and media, played in helping to ensure that this was really, authentic to what the community, would feel welcomed by.
Yeah, shout out to Jay, Elias, O'Neill, who I know carried the water on that and really did a great job. So shout out to Jay for all of his hard work on that. I know he led the effort from our shop here. And like I said, it was a raging success. And I'm really looking forward to all the different, the iterations, as we go forward. I'm really excited to see what that looks like.
Absolutely. And, I would add that, one of the sort of behind the scenes sort of success parts of that event too was that we had a Latino advisory team, with members from our Chesterfield community that helped inform our planning efforts, that are helping sort of drive solutions to root causes. We know that those who are closest to the problem are going to be closest to the solution when it comes to community building.
Right.
And for it to really have participatory community building, we have to have, true, authentic, and organic grassroots movements. Right. And so that was a really great sort of behind the scenes element of it. And so, I've had people say that, it's been a success, and I'm just like, it's just the beginning though. This is just the start. And so, we're really thrilled at, being able to partner, with your department. And I think it really kind of highlights, I think there's a story within the story of how important, communications and media is to community engagement efforts. And I think that this really highlights, how important it is for both of those elements to be present in community building. Yeah.
What's really funny too is that if you think about it, we'll look back in several years and we'll think like, yes, that first event was just a success, but look how it's changed and even grown and iterated again, to use that word. I'm really excited about that. Now, today we're actually here to talk about Community Cup, but it's such an interesting kind of companion to that type of event because, the idea behind Community Cup is very rooted in sort of bringing people together, parts of the community that otherwise maybe, other events in the past have not always been as focused on trying to bring together, right? This year's installment takes place on Saturday, October the 5th at River City Sportsplex. Again, there is a lot to talk about here, so let's unpack it a little bit. Tell us a little bit more first about the event itself, and then we'll get into the who's involved and what folks need to know about it leading into it.
Yeah, so Community Cup is one of our fun, family-friendly events that we hold every year. There's a lot of departments that are involved in this event too. Public safety departments, Parks and Recreation, of course, our department. And so essentially there's, a soccer tournament that day where our public safety partners from our region, so it's not just Chesterfield, it's also Richmond City, it's Henrico County, it's Virginia State Police, play to, try to win the cup, and each of their teams is 50% public safety professionals and 50% members of our various multicultural communities. So it makes for a very fun tournament to watch.
Absolutely, yeah. And then in addition to that, you've got so much that goes on around the actual soccer. So if all you were thinking about was like, you know what, I'm somebody and I love soccer, this is an event for you because there's going to be lots of fun had on the field. But at the same time, there's so much more that is sort of accompanying the soccer. Tell me a little bit about sort of what else is going on Community Cup Day.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know that all of our families have, kiddos and little ones. And so we include a kid zone that has, fun games for, youth to get involved in. And we also usually have, clown and face painting, all the fun things you expect at a sort of festival event.
Right. Yeah.
Each year, we also have entertainment. DJ Stop the Latino Madness is with us all day long.
Cool.
Just keeping the fun vibes going. Yeah. And of course, each year we strive to expand our multicultural performances. And so, this year we'll be having, the Panamanian dance group. We'll have a dance group from the Filipino community, from the African community, from the Arab community. So a really great opportunity to kind of, connect with a lot of, our multicultural sort of associations and cultural groups. And that part's always a lot of fun. Of course, we have what we call a multicultural market, which includes sort of local artists and vendors. This year, we're expanding a little bit there, too. We're inviting some of the vendors that the community might be used to seeing at the Latino Farmers Market. Yeah. And, of course, we always have departmental and local resources being shared. We have different food options, Latin food. Last year we had a vendor from the African community that was a big hit. Sweet treats for the kiddos and the adults too. Yep. And I actually forgot to share. At the very beginning of the event, we are opening up a soccer clinic for youth.
Oh, great.
So that's completely open. It's for youth ages 6 to 13.
Okay, cool.
And it's from 9 to 10:30. So if your family is a wake up early type of family and you want to get them, get that energy out, great opportunity for parents to bring out their youth and,
that's awesome.
Be involved in the youth clinic. And so, it's an all day event. It's a lot of fun. We're really proud that, each year our partners come back, that each year our attendance continues to grow. The soccer part, I think, is an element that brings, our multicultural communities out to play and to interact with public safety partners in a more sort of informal environment. But the sort of, festival components, I think, draw out a lot of families that maybe are not families that would come to a River City Sportsplex. And some families come out for the cultural performances, but they learn about public safety. And so, it's one of my favorite parts of my job. It's the fun, event, fun events category.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I was just thinking it's like a festival, but with soccer and this multicultural piece that makes it, I think people are very used to the idea of a fall festival, but it's such an interesting take on it. And it does such an interesting sort of, way of bringing different things out. And I think that it's such a cool event. And I know that there's probably a part of you that really wish there's been more time between Kevin Unidad and Community Cup, just simply because of all the stuff and planning and stuff that goes into it.
I love it though, Brad. I thrive in the fast paced and working in multi-sector.
Dalila was saying she likes chaos, everybody. That's what she's saying.
I don't know. I really enjoy the parts of my job that allow me to meet so many different types of people. And I would say that, kudos to Parks and Recreation in this event, because we have, usually we have around 8 teams, over 150 players that have to get there that morning. There's a lot that goes into that. And so, what an incredible way for our community to kind of come together and get to know each other. And it's been really great too, because, Brad, each year I have a different sort of cultural, group reach out and say hey, I heard about the Community Cup last year. Can our group get involved? This year I had a Vietnamese soccer group reach out and say, we'd really like to get involved, which I didn't even know that they were, in our area. So it's really kind of great to see how these events also serve as, bridges for us to learn about new groups.
Absolutely. Well, that is so cool. And I'm really excited for it. Again, October the 5th on that Saturday, River City Sportsplex. Looks like it's going to be an all-day thing. Bring everybody, come out, enjoy the soccer, enjoy the market, enjoy it all. Dalila, thank you very much for coming back on the podcast and talking to us about all the different things over at CER and certainly Community Cup 2024. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brad. Can't wait to see everyone there.
Very excited. Thank you very much. All right, so make sure you check us out on social media. On Twitter, it's at Chesterfield VA, and on Instagram, it's Chesterfield Virginia, all in word. And on Facebook, you can check out our podcast page. Just search Chesterfield Behind the Mic. Now, make sure to follow or subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, or wherever it is that you get your shows. And if you're so inclined to give us a rating or review, we greatly appreciate it. As always, a video version of our show is available on our YouTube channel as well as on our website at Chesterfield.gov/podcast. That's also where you can submit feedback anytime, make some suggestions, or just reach out to us. You can watch the show on WCCT Thursday through Sunday at 7, on the weekends at noon. That is Comcast Channel 98 and Verizon Channel 28. Lastly, check out Chesterfield.gov/connect with us to find out a number of other ways to connect with Chesterfield County. My thanks to my director, Martin Stith, my executive producer, Teresa, Bonifas, and all the good folks from Constituent and Media Services for all they do. And my thanks to you for joining us today. So, from all of us here in Chesterfield, thanks again for making us a part of your day. We'll see you again real soon. Take good care. From blogs to podcasts, and I'm very glad to tell you that Chesterfield Behind the Mic is on the air once again. Newsletters to alerts, social media, the latest community news.
Welcome to the latest installment of This Week in Chesterfield.
How to get in touch, and everything in between. If you want to know about Chesterfield County, our Connect With Us webpage has you covered. Chesterfield.gov/connect with us. Connect with us, your source for all things Chesterfield.